What is going on?
Well, I hope everybody is happy, safe, and sound wherever you are. I can't believe the weather people and the news people just keep to screw with our heads. I was in that business for an awful long time, and I never, ever started panicking saying there could be a hurricane on election day. It's like,
Oh yeah, I heard about it.
for 4 or 5 days, there has been the speculation that we would be hit with a hurricane on election day. I'm not kidding.
Oh
Are you all getting
God.
that where you are, Greg, Fink, in
Yeah, I heard.
Alachua County, Gainesville, Scott Miller in Pensacola, the western gateway to the Sunshine State?
I don't know. I've pretty well broken people from talking to me about hurricanes because the very first question that comes out of my mouth is, "What is it? What's my question, Greg?
Is it past the Yucatan or Cuba yet?
Is it north of Cuba? If it ain't north of Cuba, don't talk to me. I don't care. I don't
I'm
want
a
to hear
hurricane
about it."
panicker. I call Scott all the time about hurricanes. Just, hey, Greg, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear about it.
First
I wanna hear
question:
about it.
Is
I
it
wanna
north
hear
of
about
Cuba?
it.
Is it
Dude,
north
no,
of
we're
Cuba?
about
If
to
it's not, I
die.
don't want to hear about it.
20
Okay.
miles from my house. Ain't gonna hit you. What are you worried about?
Did it? Did it hit you?
Man
No.
up. It did. A little snippet of it did. I left power for 2 hours.
Yeah, we got a snippet here of what was his name? Milton. Milton, yes.
Yeah.
So
Florida.
there is that. Yeah. Well, that was always. Can you imagine if Milton had actually gone to Milton?
Yeah, I was talking to the city administrator of the city of Milton, and he was terrified about that too. He was convinced that it was fake. It's coming to me. It's coming to me.
And he
Hello,
just got the
Milton.
job as city manager. Next time you talk to
He
Ed,
did.
tell him I said, hey, would you?
I will. I
Okay.
absolutely will.
Here,
I'm sure it'll be safe.
Okay, good enough. So we're doing this on the Tuesday before the election. It is the 29th
Right.
of October. By the time you see it, maybe the world will have changed. People have talked to me and said, you know what I'm really afraid of? What's that? January 6th, only happening on November 6th and 7th and 8th and 9th. And I'm like, well, who's gonna be all fired up over that? Oh, well, if he wins, all of Kamala's people will riot again like they did in 2020 in the Summer of Love, more than 400 or 500 riots, depending on how you want to count them. And
What's the riot?
and if she wins, his people will attack the Capitol again. I'm like, what?
Well,
Huh?
nobody's attacking the Capitol, guys. Nobody.
No one attacked the Capitol to begin with, but but whatever. I mean, I guess it depends on how you define attack the Capitol. If attacking the Capitol is starting fires all around it and threatening to burn the place down, then well, we didn't do that. But they did do that to several courthouses. That'd be the Democrat.
Well, what's the definition of a riot, really?
Let's
mean-
burn up that police
riot?
substation in downtown.
Yeah.
Where was
Yeah.
where was that?
That
That would be
Minneapolis.
Yeah.
That would be
That was-
Minneapolis. Who was the
That was
governor?
the
The worst thing you could accuse the January 6th people of is being aggressive tourists.
Yeah,
No,
that's the word
they're
right
not.
there.
Jack
But
Smith
they
has
did
a
get killed.
personal.
They got shot.
Oh, one did get killed.
Yeah, by the other guy.
Who was unarmed. And it's amazing because there's fiction out there, that 6 police officers died as a result of the January 6th insurrection. Do you know that two of
Pure
those
fiction.
Do you know that 2 of those were suicides and 4 others were
didn't
natural
know.
causes, heart attack, stress, car wreck? And I don't know how many guys are in the Capitol Hill Police Department. 400, 500. They got a lot of territory to cover 24/7, 365. And statistically speaking, that may not be too far out of the realm of possibility. But 2 suicides, how do you directly connect that? I felt guilty that I shot and killed this person. I
Yeah.
feel guilty that I falsely testified in the congressional committee that already had a predetermined outcome of that hearing, and all the stuff that would have basically exonerated President Trump wasn't presented to the congressional group. And I'm just like, gripes.
Well, Rob,
mean,
I mean, why let the truth get away with a good story,
I mean, I'm
Right,
not
no,
a big fan of
absolutely right.
the whole January 6th debacle to me. I'm not really a big fan of how it happened. However,
Nope.
that being said, I did not foresee it happening again, and I did not foresee it happening at all as a result of this election.
don't think the crowd would fall for it a second time.
No, I mean basically it was a bait and switch. Really, I mean a lot of these people were, granted, some of them were not really Trump followers. They were just agitators who really wanted to stir up some crap. But a lot of people, I mean, they were let in by the deputies. There's plenty of video all around the Capitol that they were actually let in and allowed to go in by deputies who remove barricades and open the doors for them. It's not fake video. It's not fake news. It's real.
Nope.
I mean, and then there's other people who are busting down doors because for some reason they didn't know that they're letting them in. I mean, I'm not going to justify their behavior at all. But what I am going to say is that I doubt it's going to happen again. And I also would, make sure that nobody tries to get everybody so angry. I mean, a lot of this is manifestation of the media attacking the Republican movement and the Trump movement endlessly and calling. I mean, it's been horrible the way they've treated everybody. And I mean, the reality is we did have 400 or 500 riots of people taking police substations and blowing
George
up
Floyd.
buildings.
Remember George
people.
Floyd? I can't breathe.
And George Floyd died from he had COVID, he had heroin, he had fentanyl, everything else. And it was a very bad situation on how he died, granted. But it did not justify them killing so many other people to do it. I mean, there's peaceful protests that you can do. Martin Luther King never would have supported that. Nobody else ever would have supported all the violence that was out of that. I mean, the whole idea is that, yes, it was wrong and it needs to be fixed and everything needs to be handled. But he did not do it by blowing up buildings. He doesn't do it by blowing up communities and saying fire to everything. That is not how you fix it.
I was thinking that maybe they should have gotten together a fund to help bail these peaceful protesters out of jail. And
I think
maybe
already was there with you.
Oh, really? Tell me about that, Scott. Great. Either one of you, go ahead and tell me.
Oh, no. Kamala and there were several nonprofits, including the ACLU, who put together funds to bail people out of jail as quickly as they could be arrested for protesting.
Peaceful protesting.
I mean,
peaceful.
And then actually a lot of people that who were being released with the one that Kamala was working with had nothing to do with the riot. They were just releasing people out of jail, period. I mean, people who were attempted murderers, people who were on trial for murder, people who were on trial for rape, child pedophilia, sexual abuse, child abuse. Anybody, they're just releasing them. Anybody that had a bond available to release them, they're just releasing them out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
Period. They didn't care about what the charge was. Had nothing to do with the riots.
Oh, wait a minute. If you lived in Minnesota and you opened your window and you could smell Minneapolis or St. Paul burning, you smell the peaceful protesters as they burned down a police station and looted all sorts of stores over about a 15, 20 block area. And yet you actually liked the smell of that smoke. Then what would that make you?
That's Tim Walz follower.
No, that would make you Tim Walz, who actually said that he was okay with the and with okay with the riots. Donald Trump said, "Hey, you need the National Guard." No, Mr. President, everything's fine, says Tim Walz. We can't. This nation cannot tolerate that kind of stupidity. Okay, it just can't. For any office. Oh, wait a minute. Can anybody tell me Kamala's plan for the economy? Can she tell me her plan for, let me think, the border? Anybody?
No. She's going to build an opportunity economy, and that's how she's going to fix everything.
Yeah, well, that's like a trickle-down economy, right?
She hasn't taken the opportunity yet to talk about the opportunity. And so whenever she gets around, when she gets the opportunity, tell us about how wonderful this opportunity is going to be. And I would like to see the opportunity when she takes the opportunity to do it. Because until then, there is no opportunity. There's no opportunity economy. None of it exists.
All right, so let me run this down. Bill O'Reilly, or as some people refer to him, Uncle Bill.
Still alive?
Huh?
He's still alive?
Yes, he's still alive. He's only 75. In fact, today may be his
Uncle
birthday.
Bill or Dollar Bill?
He's younger than Biden.
Uncle Bill. All right, so in no particular order, these are his predictions for when Kamala gets elected. And I will read one, and then you can each comment, okay? That'll chew up at least 5 or 10 minutes. Number one, these are predictions when Kamala gets elected. Number one, amnesty for undocumented migrants.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's
That's easy.
high on her list. It costs her nothing to do, so she doesn't have to deal with budgeting,
She actually might
and
pick the abortion
it
of them.
gives her in her mind, it gets her a huge chunk of ready, willing, and able voters.
And also,
Okay.
she also might actually pay for their future abortions.
Number two, reparations for slavery.
Yeah,
I don't think she'll do it, but I think she'll talk that point to death because
yeah.
that's something that's far more valuable as a talking point than an actual bunch of policy.
And she'll blame the
And,
Republicans on why she can't do it because there's not enough votes in order to do it. And the Republicans, it's all their fault for being racist party. And they need to come to the table. And because they're not coming to the table, we need to go ahead and stick to the movement of getting rid of the Republican apparatus and their MAGA way of thinking to make sure that reparations do occur.
Number
well,
three.
I mean, the bottom line is,
Wait,
why
wait,
on
wait,
earth
wait.
would she ever want to solve the problem? Why would she want to solve the problem when it's so valuable as a talking point?
It's a wonderful
go.
fundraising
Number
talking point,
three.
so why solve it?
Number three, allowing the federal government, to undermine parental authority in abortion and gender matters involving their children.
Oh, she's all about that.
Oh, absolutely.
She's not even a parent.
Day one executive order.
I mean, she's a step parent. So I mean, she's never had biological children, nor she raised them, or she been through the entire lifestyle of raising them. So I mean, and granted, being a step parent is a hard job as well. But looking at those issues the same without having them is very, very, very hard. And
Number four. Okay, number four, severe restrictions on firearms.
Oh yeah.
I don't think so.
Well, yeah. She's a hunter. She hunts with her 40 S&W.
Yeah, I think she's afraid of that one. I think she's scared.
She's the president.
She's just gonna be scared.
Number five.
Again, that's an issue that they make too much money off of to solve.
Number five, onerous taxation. Greg, listen. Let me talk. Onerous taxation of the affluent and corporations, referring to it as they pay their fair share.
She loves that one.
Yeah.
That's again never going to happen though, because the people the affluent people, what she wants to have happen, she's carefully constructed this setup where it's just hard enough to be one of those top affluent people that you learn when you become one of the people that they want. You learn how to game the system enough to get you over that top 1% hump. So it doesn't matter how much they raise the taxes, because they have a back door for you to make 3 times as much money as what they charge you in taxes.
And
on the low end, there's they make you happy with just enough of a crumb that they can afford to pay everybody, but it doesn't actually take a lot of money out of their pocket.
Unless they have 225 Democrats in the House and 55 Democrats in the Senate, it's never going to pass.
Number 7, a government-regulated economy that mandates green strategies that all companies would have to obey.
No.
Well, that sounds surprisingly socialist.
Don't forget, what did her dad teach? You remember what her dad taught? Anybody?
Economics.
Marxism.
Marxist economics, yeah. Number 8. Let me find number 8 here. Number 8. A reimagining of criminal punishment. Prison sentences would be reduced dramatically.
For her, that would be a miracle, because she was a prosecutor who was draconian on her sentencing when she was the Attorney General of California. I mean, she was like putting people in jail for 25 years for a half an ounce. I mean, or like an ounce of marijuana.
All right.
So for her to do that would be a big flip.
Imposed equity where the federal government would provide entitlements to selected groups.
I don't think there's an appetite for that anywhere.
No, but it does fit her whole situational politics. So basically, the groups control everything, and people will get the shaft.
Yeah, but she at that point she gets to talk to her progressive wing and say, we could do this.
These are all
And I want to
fundraising.
do it with you. I'm with you to do it. If only those bad people over there wouldn't stop.
I mean, every single
Got
thing
it.
Bill O'Reilly has listed has been a fundraising topic, period. I mean, these are all $2 million topics. I mean, each one of you sure is $2.5 to $3 million a month of each one of these topics.
The next one should be a favorite of you because you all understand what it's like to be censored and not allowed on different streaming platforms based on the content of these shows. Here we go. Number whatever this is, 9 or 10. Strict limits on speech. New federal laws would punish expression against so-called marginalized people. That's one thing. When I was a kid in Detroit, you would tell Pollock jokes. I'm guessing in the South, they told jokes about people of the Negro, colored, African American, black persuasion. In Canada,
We told more Pollock jokes than
They
anything
don't want
else.
Pollock
in
jokes.
Canada, they tell
not
Nuke jokes
racist.
from people from Newfoundland. Anyway, Scandinavian countries already have this. The fact that it is totally unconstitutional, I don't think that's going to be a problem. Next, we've already seen this one happen. Wait, this gets better. A weaponized Justice Department and IRS. These agencies would initiate actions designed to punish political opponents. Few citizens could afford the court costs.
You can tell how much of a priority this is for them to enact by how much they accuse Trump of wanting to do it.
Exactly. And also would define how much hate they have for the other side of it, and their whole concept of everybody wanting to work together is not a reality.
Right. So it just completely blows me away that, and it's what am I going to do on Tuesday? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the gas station at the corner. I'm going to take a picture of how much the gas is at the pump, and then I'll be able to look at it all the time. In fact, let's go ahead and let's go back in time, shall we? Let's see. Library
99 cents.
years.
Oh,
That was
$1.89.
It got down to 89. It down below $1 for a day or so.
I don't remember that. I'm too traumatized anyway.
I'm very traumatized. Absolutely. I'm looking for the gas station picture from that fall. So it was a pretty good picture. It was about $1.86 here, I think. Pretty sure. $1.86. And
well, the whole point is by this time, I'm just wondering, has everyone finally come to the realization that all the crap that they're talking about is bullshit?
Yeah.
I mean, they have.
I think so.
Yeah, I mean, they put together a good talking point because they are accomplished in saying it in a way that makes it seem like it's real.
I mean,
But
the
it's
reality.
not.
I mean, the reality here is that the Democrats are not turning out the way they used to turn out. I mean, and they're not turning out nationwide. They're not excited about this candidate. Period. We had said that months ago. And I think we're gonna I think we're gonna be correct here, and I think we're gonna, our prediction on this whole idea. I mean, people don't realize that in politics it's a lot more than just X's and O's. It's really about reflection on how people behave and their behavior and their excitement level. I mean, the psychology of this race is that Kamala still was just thrown in there. What? Impeach Biden? There you go. So, Kamala was just thrown in the race at the last minute. I mean, there's no traditional campaign going on, and
it was a coup. Okay, it was a coup, and
it was a coup.
It was a coup. Biden. By the way, the headline here is Biden calls Trump voters garbage. Garbage. Okay.
I'm really getting a sense. I am really getting a sense that Biden is doing some of the things he's doing deliberately to tank Kamala. He may be a little compromised, but he's not stupid, and he knows what sorts of things, even in his diminished capacity, he knows things that you are supposed to do and maybe shouldn't be doing. And he is just flying right in the face of those things, knowing full well that they're negatively going to impact her campaign.
It goes back to what we just said about this being a coup. And I mean, and there's no excitement in this race. That's the reason why I don't think. I mean, everything is all tying together very, very well for her to lose badly, and for
Mhm.
this to be a very big day for Trump.
I'm going to come right out and say right now, unless something changes, unless the trajectory of this race changes substantially, I think Trump's going to get 300 votes.
I think he's going to win the popular vote and get 300 votes.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's possible to get 300 votes without winning the popular vote.
I mean, the
That's
reality
possible
is,
to win the election,
if you
but I
look
don't
at
think
the
you can
exit polling
win.
in New York City, just look at the exit polling right now. I mean, he is at 23 or 24%, where he only got 2%, 1% traditionally. I mean, Republicans never get more than 1 or 2% in New York City at all, ever. And
Ever.
Kamala is at 63%, where, she's supposed to be in the high 90s. And I mean, this is New York City. I mean, not a bastion of conservatism, not a bastion of MAGAism.
Yeah, there's a liberal or two in that town.
A few of them.
Liberal or 200%
But
liberals.
he's actually winning in the Muslim vote and everything else. More Muslims are comfortable with him after he got done killing the caliphate and everything else. Millions, ending the ISIS caliphate and everything else. It's just, the African American vote is coming over toward him greatly. I still have not met an African American person here yet in Alachua County. Maybe I'll meet him tomorrow, but I have not met one yet as of today. Who's a Democrat who's very comfortable with Kamala at all, and being the president. They're all supporting Trump.
It is, it is not beyond the grasp of people. It's certainly not beyond the realization of these folks that are the black community, to realize that letting all of these illegal aliens in here makes it harder for them to get jobs.
Yeah,
Any black person that wants to work knows that the more workers you got in the job pool,
yeah,
the harder it is to get a job.
right.
And it's not beyond the Muslims. So the Latins and the Latins know that the illegals that Trump is opposed to, he's opposed to them because they're illegal, not because they're Latin.
I mean,
And between the Latins and then the Muslims are the exact same way. They know exactly which Muslims Trump is opposed to, and they're opposed to him too.
I don't know
Yep.
which talk show host it was, but some talk show host, I think it was on News Nation. He interviewed, I think it was Vitter. He was talking to this young Hispanic waitress, and she was like, very supportive of Trump. He says, "Yeah, but you're an illegal alien." She says, "Yeah, I'm illegal." And she says, "If I'm still supporting Trump because I've done nothing wrong in my past." She says she'll go back and she'll come back legally. She said people who are here legally, or not, who don't have anything to hide in their past, have no trouble going back and coming back legally. There's more than enough nonprofits and everything out there to pay the fees they had to pay. The ones who are worried about it are the ones who are breaking the law. They have a criminal record from the past to hide. Those are the ones who are worried about it, because they won't be back here legally. They can't come back legally if they were escaping from a prison, or escaped terrorists, or something else happened in the land that they're coming from. Those are the ones that we don't want here anyway. So the whole point here is that people don't realize that budgeting your local services, your county, your cities, everything has to do with the budget. And all the budgets have to do, and this is probably a little inside baseball here, but all the budgets have to do with knowing how many people are here, according to the census, according to documentation. And we need to know how many people here are going to be using the hospitals. That's what dictates how many hospital beds you have. People don't realize you only are limited to so many hospital beds based on your population in your county. You can only have so many beds in this part of town, or so many beds in that part of town.
Yeah, you're talking about certificates of need, but I'm opposed to those too. They need to outlaw those stupid CONs.
My point is, it's only done if you actually have documentation. If you have a whole bunch of illegal workers coming in, that's what's overrunning the hospitals, overrunning the schools, overrunning all the community services, is because they have no idea how many people are here. And they only have a finite budget of money here to take care of their communities, and nothing is again. That's why everything's falling apart. Crime goes through the roof. Your school goes down the toilet. Everything just falls apart because all these illegals are running over the system. It's not because anybody hates them. It's because you have to know who's there? I mean, period.
Or it
And it
ain't
had to be
gonna
here
work.
legally.
No, not going to
So
work. So
anyway,
we should write these things down. Scott, you're sitting at a desk. I can tell. Greg, you're sitting at a desk.
Yes.
Okay, wait a minute. Hang on. Let me just pull my damn
a
phone out.
pencil. Oh,
Oh boy.
I got a pencil.
I have a pencil.
Okay,
I'm all
predictions.
digital. I got 5 keyboards.
Scott, how many votes? 300
Oh, I say
electoral
300.
votes.
I say 300.
And the popular vote?
And the popular vote.
Greg?
Identical.
Okay. Rob? I'm going to go with 282. And popular. Do we think that Rick Scott's going to have a problem?
No.
Oh no.
Here we go. We get 52%.
Do we think
If,
that
if Trump, it's going to be damn near impossible for Trump to come out with 300 votes and us not sweep the legislature also.
You're going to write this down. Rich Scott will get 52.
do we keep the House? Do we gain the Senate?
We gain
the House and gain in the Senate.
Exactly. We'll pick up 2 seats in the Senate, and we'll pick up probably around 8 seats in the House.
I'm writing that down. 8 House and 2 Senate. Does that give Republican control across the board?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
Okay.
There's still going to be a. It's not going to be a. What you call it? When you talk, when they can't stop you from talking in the Senate, it's a
filibuster. Filibuster.
It's not going to be a filibuster-proof majority in the Senate, but it's going to be a big one. But it will be a very comfortable margin in the House.
It's got to be, because, and by the way, let me just change the subject. Our good buddy Steve Bannon was released from prison after serving 4 months for what, lying to Congress or contempt of Congress. I messaged a buddy of mine who works at Breitbart. I said, maybe he can get his old job back. You know, you probably get a tax credit for employing a convicted felon who's had federal prison time, who's been in the big house. And,
exactly.
I tell you, one of my high school classmates had Steve Bannon as his division officer when he was working on a destroyer in the Atlantic Fleet. Yeah.
That's cool.
But I will also tell you this: only the most junior of ensigns get to control the sea and anchor details in the deck gang. These are guys that scrape paint, push brooms. That's it. That's drop the anchor. That's what those guys do. And my classmate Bob, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but he didn't know what specialty he wanted when he got in the Navy. About 3 weeks after, I think he left 3 weeks after he graduated high school. So Steve Bannon's out. That's a good sign. I certainly hope that we are correct in all of this, and I hope that I am wrong with my number. That 280 is too low, and so we can only hope. The crazy predictions are it's going to be a Reagan 84 landslide. I'm like, what?
So, yeah.
Huh? I mean, can you imagine Tim Walz losing Minnesota to Donald Trump? How does he go back to his job?
I can see.
He didn't have to resign to run, but but it's going to be awkward to say the least.
I can see California actually leaning more toward Trump than ever before. I think he could probably get 45% of California.
Yeah, he's definitely not going to win, but he certainly has the.
Write down 45% for California. I think he'll win Georgia too.
Oh, I think he's definitely going to win Georgia.
Ohio, North Carolina. I think he's definitely going to win Pennsylvania.
I think
Pennsylvania by 2 points.
Now, here's why I think he's going to win Pennsylvania. And this little factoid caught me the other day, and I don't know that it's I haven't checked the veracity of it, but the outlet that I heard it from is someone that I trust, so maybe. They were talking about there being 200,000 new Amish voters.
Oh yeah,
And Amish people do not like to register to vote because they have to get their picture taken and it involves them too much in the technology of the English. So they don't like to do it. But they are motivated to do it because of the religious restrictions that the Biden administration put them on. So
exactly.
you can count on the 50,000 voters that they had last time, for similar reasons, who
Watch it.
all voted for Trump. Now there's 4 times that many.
Yeah.
And let me tell you something, 200,000 voters in a market the size of Pennsylvania is not a small deal.
The fact that Shapiro had to come out attacking Trump a couple of days ago, Shapiro doesn't attack anybody. He's a very milquetoast, go along to get along kind of governor, and he's not an attack dog. I mean, he's actually a very good, a solid, moderate Democrat governor. He's actually pro-life and pro-Israel, to a degree. And so, I mean, the whole idea that they had to bring him out along with Eminem and everybody else, I mean, it shows the desperation that they have. And so,
Just look at how angry these people are getting. Barack Obama is angry. He's calling people stupid. I mean, when these people who are accomplished, polished politicians are so frustrated that they're just throwing up their hands and calling people stupid, that tells you how far down the rabbit hole they are.
All right. On that happy note, fellow rabbit holers, we will dismiss ourselves from the entertainment today. Scott Miller, thank you for joining us from Pensacola. Greg Fink, thank you for joining us from somewhere in hiding in the Federal Witness Protection Program in Alachua County. And I'm Rob Milford in Orlando. When we speak to you again, we will have a new president-elect of the United States. I hope it is the same guy that was the 45th president. And God forbid if it goes the other way. I'm not sure how this nation will survive her term as president.
we'll survive.
But we'll see. It won't be the same
4
nation.
years.
That's all. It just won't be the same nation. So have a great one from all of us here at the Political Matrix News.